In the lush landscape of Jamaica, legends whisper of a haunting figure known as the White Witch of Rosehall. Annie Palmer, a woman wrapped in mystery and malevolence, has become the stuff of songs and stories across generations. Born in England to modest parents, she was orphaned at a young age and raised in Haiti. Her upbringing was shadowed by the dark arts of voodoo, learned from her nanny, who introduced her to its secret practices. As she grew older, Annie moved to Jamaica in her late teens, seeking fortune and power. She married John Palmer, the owner of Rosehall, a grand sugar plantation near Montego Bay. Soon after her arrival, Annie assumed dominance over Rosehall and its inhabitants. She was said to be a petite woman dressed in red, a color symbolizing blood and passion in her world. No portrait of her ever existed, but some believe the image of a woman in scarlet hints at her true nature. People say she loved the color red, yet her actions suggested a darker obsession with bloodshed. Her reputation was brutal. She tortured her slaves for her own amusement and murdered 3 husbands. The plantation workers lived in terror under her cruel rule, often whispering about her malevolent powers. One of the legends describes her as a beautiful but deadly woman whose eyes seemed to follow anyone who entered her domain. She never bore children, but supposedly commissioned a portrait with children who looked stiff and unnatural. Critics say the painted children resembled dolls more than real kids, a sinister reflection of Annie's manipulations. Some say the eyes in her portrait seem to follow visitors, as if she's still watching from beyond her grave. According to Jamaican folklore, a duppy is a ghost or malevolent spirit, often taking animal form like bats. Locals warn that seeing a bat at twilight is a sign to beware of Annie's restless spirit. Her evil deeds eventually caught up with her. Her karmic punishment was said to be swift and brutal. Taku, a former slave she had freed and loved, decided to end her reign of terror. He had been loyal, visiting her nightly, until her jealousy and cruelty led her to murder Millicent, a young slave girl. Taku's fury was ignited by her killing of Millicent, leading to a final act of vengeance. He entered her bedroom one night, strangling Annie in her bed, ending her earthly existence. But even in death, Annie's dark magic persisted. Her voodoo powers were said to trap her restless soul. Ghostly sightings began soon after her death, terrifying anyone who dared approach Rosehall. Servants, guests, and residents all claimed to see her apparition lurking in the house's shadowy corners. The house was abandoned, left to decay, haunted by her malevolent presence that refused to fade. In the early 1900s, a family tried to live at Rosehall, only to be driven out by supernatural forces. Their maid was thrown from a second-floor balcony by unseen hands, reinforcing the house's haunted reputation. This balcony was also the spot where Annie herself had watched her slaves' torture spectacles long ago. Her cruelty was evident in the gruesome scenes of suffering that had taken place below her window. The torture dungeons hid the tragic end of many victims. Lack of food and medicine sealed their fate in days. The house remained silent for decades after that tragic event, until the 1960s, when restoration efforts began. Rosehall was then transformed into a historical site, attracting tourists from all over the world. Today, visitors explore the grand house, listening to ghost stories and legends about Annie's malevolent spirit. Despite the renovations, many claim the air still feels heavy with the presence of the White Witch. Some say her spirit still roams the halls and grounds, watching yet unseen, always waiting for her next victim. Tour guides recount tales of eerie whispers and shadowy figures seen lurking in the dark corners. One popular story involves a woman in red who appears at night, only to vanish when approached. Many believe she is Annie Palmer herself, eternally guarding her cursed domain. The legend persists, making Rosehall a magnet for ghost hunters and thrill seekers alike. Next time you visit Jamaica, a tour of Rosehall's great house promises an encounter with history and legend. And perhaps, just perhaps, you might catch a glimpse of the White Witch still watching from the shadows.